Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jamira and I'm a millennial living in Philadelphia that's documenting life shenanigans. In the past few months, I've talked about my experience getting into tech, going to boot camp, and eventually getting an internship at Adobe. But I wanted to come back here and give like an update because it's been a few months. I just wanted to provide some insight and sort of review my internship as a recipient of the 2021 Adobe Digital Academy program. If you don't know, the Adobe Digital Academy is a program that provides career transitioners or people who are interested in getting into tech the opportunity to do so through a stipend and through a scholarship to a boot camp. For me, I went through General Assembly, and General Assembly is their education partner, so probably be General Assembly boot camp. And then if you do well in that scholarship, if you do well in that boot camp, you make it through, there's an opportunity for you to intern at Adobe. And I ended up getting accepted back. It's probably been almost a year now that I applied for the program and made it through, and this summer had my internship at Adobe. So before I get into the review, I do want to share that my internship was extended. So I will still be interning with Adobe through into November. And so that's really exciting because I was at a point where, I really wanted to stay at Adobe and be at Adobe and be a part of the team there because I had a good time and really love what Adobe does. So I'm happy that my internship was extended. I'm still on the same team and I'm just happy to be able to learn more and continue to build a network within Adobe. The Adobe Digital Academy internship is aligned with the university intern program that they have. So we came in at the same time at the university interns came in as well, which made for a really interesting moment. There was lots of programming and lots of swag and boxes sent out, which was really cool and definitely an experience that I never had working at any company. So that was really exciting. We got a lot of great. I worked on an individual project and a group project that I was able to successfully complete. And I think we'll call this part of my internship 1.0. And so in that part I was able to complete these projects. I worked on like a video project with the org that I was a part of, and then worked with a group of interns on a more customer facing project, which was also successful. So I was really proud of that. It was interesting being older, an older person working with like university, like people going into senior and undergrad, in college, working closely with them to complete a project, as opposed to me. Like I've been to college, but a few years ago. So that dynamic was interesting navigating, and in the end it was just really good to connect with people and hear about their experiences. Because the program was remote, and I'm in Philadelphia where most of the interns were a lot of the interns were actually scattered across the world, I would say. But there were a lot of interns who were based in the US who were in larger cities like New York and in California. So there wasn't really that closeness of being able to meet with people and hang out with them or work on a project together in person. But I did get a chance to meet with one of the interns in my group project. So that was pretty cool, hearing about his experiences and, what he's doing in school. And it was cool. It's good to have an open mind in any aspect at all, and I'm glad that I was able to do that throughout the internship. In terms of pros in the internship, like I mentioned before, there was a lot of great intern programming and events. I had the chance to join the Adobe Employee Network groups. So if you are part of a particular community, whether you are Black, whether you are Asian American Pacific Islander, whether you are LGBTQ or an ally of any of these employee network groups, there's separate programming and meetings that happen within those groups, and that was really great to join, to get that experience. I definitely felt like I was a part of the Adobe community when I was participating in those employee network groups. So that was a really great highlight of the program. Still got a chance to meet with a lot of people from Adobe. Like, one thing that I really wanted to do was go in there and network with a lot of people, network with people in different fields, network with people in different roles, in different orgs, and just sort of understand what exactly are they doing and what do they like, how do they like working at Adobe, and just getting that sort of insight was really helpful throughout the internship, and just sort of like helping me understand what it's like to be at Adobe. Another great pro was that I got a chance to dive into more of like a personal hobby that I have and sort of see it expand into a more like in a professional capacity, which is like video work. So for my project, I worked on this recruitment video and got a chance to do that and experiment on Adobe products that I hadn't used before. And so that was a really good challenge and a way for me to sort of express my creativity, which I will get to, which I'll get to later. And another pro that I had was just the network of Digital Academy alumni that is there, is amazing and supportive. And coming into this internship as a career transitioner, someone who has experience in the field, someone who went through this boot camp, like, our experiences were and having to sort of advocate and be like, hey, you know, I'm not actually going back to school, and I'm here to transition, and I'm looking for work immediately after this internship. Like, that, I think that dynamic and experience was something that employees at Adobe themselves were just not really familiar with, and they were like, oh, because the company is like 22,000 people working there, so not everyone is like familiar with the program. So having to go in and explain to them and be like, I'm not, you know, in university, I'm looking for work, this is what I can do, that was interesting. And it was really good to have the alumni of the Digital Academy who are at Adobe there to talk to and ask questions, because they understand what you're going through. They understand, you know, the different they understand like what you need, they understand the fears, they understand like if you have a family that you need to take care of, and you've gone through this like huge transition in your life where you leave your job and you do this boot camp. It's like there's a lot at risk there. So having a community that went through the same thing that you're going through was so helpful. And there were a lot of different opportunities to connect with, a lot of different opportunities to ask questions, a lot of opportunities to ask people within your cohort questions and build that connection there was really great. And like I said, they were very helpful and continue to help me even to this day as I enter into Internship 2.0. Now the cons. So from the beginning, I would say that my internship was definitely different than what I expected, in that it wasn't technical. And when I got there, I was very confused because my title has a technical like label on it, but the project that I was doing wasn't technical. The team that I was on was not technical, and that was confusing for me because my expectations were that I was going to be getting experience in software development, because if you didn't know, my boot camp that I was a part of was software engineering, and that a software engineering immersive program. So my expectations, that's what I was gonna get. And so to have that experience be different was definitely confusing. And for me specifically me, I found there to be a bit of relief there because of my realizations that I had in the boot camp, which I will get to later. Oh, I would say, yeah, the biggest con was that I was placed in an internship that didn't meet the expectations that I had when I agreed to join. And that's definitely something that stood out throughout the whole internship, leading me into having dealt with or having experienced that change once I began my internship. It allowed me to, I decided to keep going because I wanted to, one, learn more about roles and what people are doing at Adobe, and two, while I was going through my boot camp, I got more excitement out of the planning of the project and planning of the thing that I was going to be building more than I did the actual building process. Now, there are a lot of my projects that I created in the software engineering bootcamp that I'm super proud of and that I definitely want to continue to work on. But one of the biggest takeaways throughout the bootcamp was just that I didn't think that software development was something that I personally wanted to do professionally. And this is also something that I sort of knew when I started it, because I also had interest in, I was torn between user experience design and software engineering because I really enjoyed both of them. So when I went through the boot camp and was going through, it was very intense. I think by the time I got to my internship, I was super burnt out. And then I also was just a bit relieved when I was like, oh, it's not actually technical. So that gives me more time to explore what's, the different roles at Adobe and talk to more people and sort of see what possibilities are out there for me. And I sort of appreciated that. But at the same time, there were feelings of shame, because it's like I had put myself in this position to be like, oh, I'm gonna be a software engineer, I'm gonna be developing products, and this is the path that I'm gonna go on, maybe if not like for the rest of my life, but like for some time. And then to go in and be like, oh, I don't actually want to do this, I definitely had feelings of shame. I'm like, I've been through this whole thing, and I put in so much work and effort into this, and I can do it. But I don't think that I want to pursue this professionally. I think I wanted to find something that was more aligned with my skill set and my interest, which is like a merge of the technical and the business side, and then also the user experience side, which led me into product management. So like I said, I really enjoyed the aspect of problem solving and creating solutions and the planning of those projects that I mentioned in my boot camp. That was what excited me most, and that is after like having different conversations with people at Adobe and being like, I really want to work in product. I still want to build things. I still want to solve user issues, but I don't want to like code it out, and I don't want to be coding for hours at a time. But I still want to be a part of the process. And so people were like, oh, you should look into product management. I think you may be interested in that. I have a background in social media, a background in marketing. So they were like, you may understand the business component aspect of it. And the more I learned about it and the more I spoke to different people, I was like, oh, you might be right. So I'm definitely interested in product management, and I'm enrolled in like free courses, and I'm reading more about it because I really like to go in that direction. So that is like the biggest takeaway that I've had in my internship personally, in my experience with the Digital Academy. And thankfully, like I mentioned, going back to this program, there are a lot of Digital Academy alumni who also have pivoted from whatever they may have studied or attended bootcamp for to go into product management. It's a very common path that engineers move into product management. So it's been really interesting talking with more product managers and talking with people who moved into product management and shadowing them, and just learning more about the function and the role of the job and how it interacts with engineering and design, and just the business. So that's the biggest pivot. My advice for people who are looking to apply for the Adobe Digital Academy, I say go for it. Go for it, because despite like the changes and a lot of pivots that I had in my internship, I highly doubt that I would have even attended the boot camp, because that's like a whole other thing too. It's like before you even get into the internship, you have to go through the boot camp, and I highly doubt that I would have been where I wouldn't have even gotten into a boot camp had it not been for the Digital Academy program. Like, so there's that aspect to it. And then also just like I said, like being a part of Adobe, being inside of Adobe is like also something I'm like, I don't think I would have ever done that, or it wasn't even a company I considered even looking at, you know? And I think that is just like so much more worth it than like you may need to pivot some things, or my personal experience of just like things are a little bit different than I expected, but I'm going with the flow. And I think that my experiences, and I also think is important to remember to advocate for yourself, like especially if you know what you want to do and you find that things are a little bit different than you expected, like definitely you need to take the initiative to advocate for yourself on all fronts. So whether you're like early in the beginning, whether you're through the bootcamp process, whether you are in the internship, you need to be an advocate for yourself and not rely on people to like do the work for you, and be your voice. You should be your own voice. And I will also say another advice I have is to be mindful of what you want. And that's so hard. That's so hard, because if you're anything like me and you have lots of interests, then that can be very hard to be like, I'm gonna do this, I gotta do it this way. But definitely look at your interests, look at what you want to do, look at where you see yourself in a few years. I knew I wanted to be in tech. I knew I had like creativity, and I really enjoyed, the tech aspect of it. And I enjoyed both user experience and software engineering. And if I had to do it again, I would probably do the user experience design portion of it, because I felt that aligned more with my interests. However, I am thankful that I made it through, went through the software engineering bootcamp, because that's the part that's like that knowledge of what it takes to build a full stack application, to do it, to know what goes into developing the back end and the front end, to know about the frameworks that are used. That is something that I don't that is something that is very valuable. So I think it will still help me in like my product management goals. So it's the advice I have. So yeah, definitely, if you had any question about it, apply. If you want to get into tech, apply. it doesn't hurt to apply. I'm glad I applied. I would apply again. When I look at how my state of being was a year ago compared to what it is now, like in a pandemic, for one, I feel just more at ease and I feel more at peace than when I was, you know, in my old role and my old job. And that is like super important to me, that ability to just sort of like leave the past behind, move on to new things, look towards your future, fight for your future, fight for what you want, and go after it. Like, that is just so worth it. Definitely, if you get the opportunity, definitely apply. And if y'all have any more questions around, you know, the Digital Academy, definitely comment them below. And if there are some things that I haven't touched again, I'm happy to do a video of it again. But I hope that y'all having a really good day and that you enjoy the rest of your week. And I will talk to you next time. Bye.
She said she the one, I bet she thinks she is. Saying don't have no trust, I don't know where you been. I need a break.